Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
Hello and welcome. My name is Michael Libercci. I am here joining you today to talk about journey of leadership. And I want to bring something to light. The journey of leadership starts from within and works its way out to impact from either verbal or physical cues. Now, what that means is everyone is a leader. Everyone on this planet has the power to grab a hold of somebody in a moment and lead and influence. And it's a very important concept that I've learned over the last 30 years in the coaching and development space. People don't realize how strong they really are. And in the theme of reboot, there's a few things I want to cover that are going to bring leadership into the forefront of what you never thought it was. So as we walk down this journey together, and we're looking at how things are happening in the world today, we want to navigate with that same concept. I am a leader. You are a leader. We are all leaders. Now, if you're feeling a little bit obscure and you're feeling not so thriving, the world's moving around you too fast, your message is lost, you're lost, you're not alone. There's plenty of people out there that have the same problem happening. Let me tell you my story, and then we'll get down deep into some of the ideas. You know, I started out as an overweight kid in Baltimore, and I was in a blue collar area. I was in the background. I wasn't popular. I was really filled with low self-esteem, kind of a tough home life. And I just followed crowds and I allowed people to lead me. And what I didn't understand was just because somebody is saying something doesn't necessarily mean that I have to believe and follow it. But to feel connection and to feel purpose, I was a follower, not a leader. I didn't respect my own abilities and I didn't respect myself. And I had self-esteem issues. And what happened when you have self-esteem issues is that you start to make decisions that are making other people happy. You're not living your life. I was living somebody else's life. I was going along and doing things that weren't necessarily productive. I probably wasn't the best member of society. I was probably doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, hiding it from my parents, feeling cool, feeling like one of the crowd. And to me, I don't know, I was lost in this enigma of being in a bond with people, and it felt good. So as time goes on, my parents saw this, and in their sort of wisdom, they sent me to a different school. And the different school just put me with a smarter group of the same kind of people. So you can't transplant. Here's key number one thing. If you're feeling like you need a change, just because you move, right, doesn't mean you leave everything behind. You're still carrying your emotional baggage. You're still carrying it with you. You are still bringing along the same stuff. New container, new packaging, new paint job, new group of people, new thing, new sunrise, new angles. You're still bringing it with you. Change happens from within, manifests without. Leadership is the same thing. So as I'm moving down the line, I found fitness and exercise. This is about high school. Fitness and exercise changed me. And I'll tell you why. Because what happened was I was playing football, and I'd never played football before, and I was absolutely getting manhandled manhandled, underprepared, under strength, under skilled, under everywhere. You you can't even fathom when you step onto the field with man-child human beings at an age that you're barely hitting puberty and you're a late bloomer like I was. I don't know if there's any of the late bloomers, but I was a late bloomer. Happy to say, part of that crowd. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Genetic Code. And I was just getting pushed around. Weightlifting and training started bonding me with a different group of people. Now, still same follower mentality, but now I was following a different group of people. I was following a more fitnessy workout, football, machismo crowd. That changed my entire life. I started down the workout fitness path. That seemed to have been a through thread in my entire life. So what I started to do is I started to change myself physically. Here's my thought process. Here's number two. The thing you think you're changing, you're really not. It's the doing of the thing that is making you change. It is the doing of the thing that is making you change. Here's a key point. I'm in the gym 3 days a week working out with people that are super huge linemen and physical specimens and everything else, right? In high school. And it's not exactly the weights I'm lifting, it's me showing up, me doing the work, me then buying into the work, and then me empowering myself through discipline, repetition, adherence, and mindset. Now, I took that same 4 pillars here and I moved that all through the next thread of my life. I went from there to extreme sports. I was doing things on mountain bikes that shouldn't be done on mountain bikes. I was injuring myself. It was great. It was a fantastic experience. But I ran through the one through thread was now, as I moved through high school to college, I shed some dead weight, met a new group of people, but I had a new arsenal. I had new information locked into my mind. What I had my fitness and discipline principles. And we'll call it fitness for lack of a better word. I had my working out and being physical, being part of the physical culture, which if you really want to break it down, it wasn't just being part of physical culture. It was discipline adhering to something. You could interchange that word to art, music, reading, creating, martial arts, meditating, business, whatever have you. Whatever your through thread is. If you've lost your light, since we're talking about reboot, if you've lost your light, my number one thing is do something, anything, just to get it back. It can be anything. It can be start routine walking. It can be any type of repeatable behavior. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be meditating. It can be thinking. It can be journaling. It can be anything. The number one thing that's going to get you from whatever ideas in your mind to impact is that routine discipline. As we carry my story forward, I was always an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur in college. I threw parties. I had a great time. My house was packed. We had a great thing. I played music. It was awesome. I left college. I thought I was going to get a job. I realized I was unemployable. I was running retail. I was running a retail business where I was responsible for $4.5 million of inventory, making about $26,500 a year at probably age 20. I'm going to say 23, 22, 23, working retail, grinding myself into a pencil. And I got sick of it. I left, and then I started my own fitness business. Now, same through thread, right? Here we are, discipline, adherence, mindset, obscurity to now I'm shooting myself into a world where I happen to be in the right place at the right time. Okay, I was in an area outside of Washington, D.C. that happened to just parallel with affluence. So I was in the right industry at the right time with the right discipline. However, I was in an extremely crowded marketplace. I started myself as a weekend certified personal trainer. I was in an environment where there were 38 other independent personal trainers operating within this one gym. All of us had private clients, all of us. I started to work there at $8 an hour. 6 months later, I left there at $45 an hour for my own self. Then on, I got more education, more discipline, more adherence, more positivity, more reinforcement, putting in more layers and layers and layers of what I thought. Here we go again. I'm gonna bring this around. What I thought was credentials equaled confidence. Credentials do not equal confidence. I was still doing the same thing. I was looking externally. I had to get validation by going to a course and then taking a test and saying, wow, you've done this accomplishment. You're certified in this. You're certified in that. Now, there's something to be said for going through a formal education process. But just because you haven't gone through the process doesn't mean that you need the validation at the end of the process. That validation just means you've accomplished something, and it's proof of accomplishment. It doesn't give you any more confidence. If you know what you know what you know. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but the truth is it's not. And as back to the story, as I am servicing and working with this clientele, these are probably top 1 to 2% of earners in the world, right? Outside of Dubai, Abu Dhabi. There were more people in this densely packed area that have done more things professionally that will make your mind spin. The parking lot looked like it was something in South Beach, Miami, with the cars in the parking lot of this strip center this gym was in. And the one thing that dawned on me, right? That one moment that dawned on me was all these people are coming to me. They're coming to me, not for what I know, but for me. And I'll tell you the pivotal moment. So here's another thing, another lesson. If you need a reboot, here's another lesson. I got out of a certification. I went to work with a guy that I shared clients with. I went to meet him. I didn't go to work for him. I met him. I had him do the discipline that we were practicing on me. And immediately I got validation. I said, I'm better than this guy, not from a personal standpoint, but I've got my stuff is together. My reps, my chops are sharp. I immediately went ahead and doubled my rate. I immediately doubled it. I walked out of that office and I doubled. I said, if he's getting it, I'm going to get it and then more. But I was still stuck in something. I wasn't a leader. I understood people came to me. But the light bulb moment was not what I was doing. It's the commitment to how I was doing it. Here, out here. So leadership, right? Impact. There's the biggest lesson. Leadership is always going to impact someone or some group. If you are in line with your principles and you are in line with who you are, the reception of that impact, right? The reception of that impact won't matter. The people that will love you will love you. The people that will not love you will not love you. Leadership doesn't mean you're going to please everybody. Leadership just means you're planting a flag from within and you're either orating it, thinking it, or communicating it out. Everybody's a leader. All of us. Let's say this entire group went into a grocery store and it didn't have self-checkout and we were all bottlenecked. Guess who's leading us besides our need for food? The checkout. the person working the checkout. That person is a leader. The way they communicate, how they smile, how they don't talk. Their little dainty minute and a half interaction can make or break what happened before we got to them and maybe what happens after we get to them. See, the truth is about leadership, you never know. It's not like something that you wake up and put your superhero suit on and say, I'm a leader today. You'll lead and follow all throughout the day. So as an entrepreneur, growing out of that fitness space into coaching and in entrepreneurial development, and then even helping entrepreneurs get respect, recognition, and helping other people become leaders, recognizing their inner greatness. I know that sounds a little woo, for lack of a better word, but your inner greatness is you. Your inner greatness exists in everyone, like I said before. It's just tapping into that and where to find it, how to do it. So let's understand something. Everyone's got the power to lead, right? In the coaching space, the number one through thread that I noticed about people that were making their assertions, being leaders, to people that didn't believe in themselves. Follow me here, please. People that didn't believe in themselves and didn't realize their leadership power. There was alignment. There was discipline. There was action. And there was repeating. Getting positive feedback and moving on. When you have somebody and you're servicing a community of really, we'll call it busy people, and they're making the time for you, their schedules are so busy, you're scheduling with assistants, people are calling you to reschedule. When you have those people's attention, you realize they're not any better than me. However, what they're doing is they're pursuing something that matters to them so much that no matter what, they're going to make that time. They're going to make it happen. And if you need a reboot or a refresh, the number one key is action. Alignment, action, and realizing everything you do has impact. Even if it's not today, even if it's tomorrow, even if it's 2 years from now. We have an immediate microwave society. Put it in, bake it, cook it, and we think immediate. We put ourselves behind some sort of individual 8-ball, poke ourselves down into a hole as if we were a mole, which is fine. If you're down into a hole, there's a whole big community down there. Just learn to thrive. If you feel like you need to come out of that hole, well, understand why are you putting walls up? Why are you there in the first place? Remember, just because you're in the hole, just because you're out of the hole doesn't mean it's going to be any better. Still the same baggage. Same baggage up here, same baggage down there. You always carry it with you. Now, what does it take to really become a leader? It just becomes a series of events that you trigger within your own self, right? Number one, it's a belief. Number two, it's some sort of recognition, meaning I don't like what you're saying, or I like what you're saying. You're leading. People are making decisions, right? Number three, what is the impact? And then number four, what's the result of your impact? What result did you achieve? Why are you so passionate about what you're doing? Because what you're doing now is what you're choosing to do. Life's about choices. I stopped seeking external validation and I started saying, okay, I need soundboard. I don't need validation. I don't need someone's approval within reason, obviously. You don't want to show up to a black tie affair in a chicken suit, but you don't need the approval. As long as it's morally and ethically sound, you are the leader. I always say this in a lot of communications, right? No one does better than you at what you do. You and I can do the same thing. You're way better at what you do than what I do. Nobody's better than you. And this isn't rah-rah. Nobody's better than you. And if you search hard enough, you can find your power. You can tap it. All you have to do is actually try. I'll be honest with you, folks. I have to find and search for my power every day because I learned to be a follower early on. So each and every day, I suit up and show up, and I have to actually do that right before I get going in my day. I fight it every single day. It drives me crazy. It is almost like an alarm is going off and I can't shut it off. And it takes me about 5 to 10 minutes to actually shut it off. That's what my cup of coffee's for. So just know there's no place of arrival either with leadership. There's no place of arrival. Every beautiful speaker you've heard today, everyone you're going to hear today, look at their journey. Look at their amazing transformation about where they were, what they're doing, and where they are, and the impact they're trying to make. They're human beings like you and I. The best thing about situations, conferences like this and events like this is that you get to be inspired and you get a playbook. And every version of who you hear today is just as good as anybody else. They're amazing human beings on this with amazing, amazing, amazing results. Key point, study process. Listen to the work they've put in. Listen to the time they've put in. Think about it. Think about all the rejection. Think about the interpersonal struggles. Action flips the switch. And without action, there's nothing. So failure to take action is still taking action. It's just taking action in the other way. Don't be obscure. Don't hide your message from the world. Let everybody know what's going on. Be the leader that you want to be because you know you can be, not because I told you so. If you need my permission, go right ahead. Rock out. You know, saddle up and ride. Let's go. Wayne Dyer, former, he passed away, but he's a motivational guy. He said, don't die with your music still in you. Don't die with your music still in you. So I encourage everybody who's marching down this path with us today, pick about 3 or 4 things from all of us. Follow the journey. Put it in your arsenal and go out there and lead. And message us. We're here to help.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.